Many consumers are currently under financial pressure due to higher inflation, interest rates, and unemployment. In the past year or so, for instance, the TransUnion Credit Bureau and Debt Busters made public information on South Africans' high indebtedness, and Old Mutual reported on the low savings of consumers. The BER has been conducting a consumer confidence survey since 1975 and a retail survey going back even further. We also make forecasts of consumer spending, one of the crucial components of economic growth. Many clients are retailers or affected by consumer spending. All these reflect developments over time. However, it is useful to take time and get a bird's eye view of consumers' financial situation and their attitude towards credit. This reminds us that the picture is more nuanced. There are also consumers in good standing, many of whom save a little or even a lot. Many are reluctant to buy on credit. Such consumers can therefore spontaneously take advantage of more and new product and service offers. They are also able to better withstand emergencies. To get better information on this, we commissioned a special consumer survey at the end of last year. We used the same wording as in the University of Michigan in the US and the Melbourne Institute in Australia. This survey was a trial to establish if the questions have also deliver sensible results in highly unequal developing countries such as South Africa. Ipsos conducted face-to-face interviews from 26 October to 25 November 2022 of 2,637 randomly selected adults, people 18 and older, in metros and other urban areas, and we calculated the results in January 2023. We pose 3 questions, but report on the results of only 2 in this presentation. We will share the results of consumers' impressions of the available jobs in the local area via social media. The first question comes from Australia. Respondents had to say which of the following best describe the present situation of their household. 32% reported that they were running into debt, 14% that they are having to draw down on their savings, 28% said that they are managing to make ends meet on their income, 13% saved a little, 4% saved a lot, and 9% didn't know or refused to answer the question. If we exclude don't know and refuse, and we combine running into debt and having to draw on our savings, we can say that 49% of consumers face difficult financial situation, whereas if we combined make ends meet, saving a little and saving a lot, 51% are in a more favorable financial situation. Respondents are also asked about their personal income, in addition to other demographic characteristics such as sex, age, type of housing, number of people in the household, etc. These demographic characteristics are used to weigh each response so that the total reflects the population. The results for all demographics are interesting, but personal income is of particular interest to economists and business people, as income could change potential to effective demand, an attitude to an actual sale. A last point to mention before we go to the findings per income group is that we split the urban adult population into 3 groups of about equal size. If we sort adults from lowest to highest personal income, then the bottom 6 million earn less than 8,000 Rand per month, the middle third of 5.5 million earn between 8,000 Rand and 16,000 Rand per month, and the top third earn more than 16,000 Rand per month. These are the categories we use, but one could also stratify differently. For instance, in quartiles of less than the first one 5,000, the second 5 to 10,000, the third 10 to 20, and the top or the fourth all above 20,000. In the case of the low income group, 44% in the dark blue at the bottom of the bar here report that they are running into debt. This declines slightly to 40% in the case of the middle income group, and more significantly to 22% for the high income group. While 27% of the low and middle income earners report that they are making ends meet, the share increases to 35% in the case of the high income group. If we combine running into debt and drawing on savings, then 59% of low income earners face financial difficulties. This declined slightly to 55% in the case of the middle income group, and more pronouncedly to 41% in the case of the high income group. While respondents easily provide information on their age, for example, a large number didn't reveal their income, because it is a sensitive issue, or in the case of the unemployed, it varies so much that they didn't know. So far, we have reported percentages. Then we include only those that did provide their personal income and exclude those that responded that they didn't know. However, in the next slide, we show the absolute number of adults. Then we provide for those that did not reveal their income by scaling up the results of those that did. This means that we assumed that the distribution of the results is the same for those that did not reveal their income than those that did provide their income. This is not an imprudent assumption, as the results of those providing their income correspond with those of the total, weighted according to all the demographic characteristics. This slide shows on the left that more than 10 million out of the 29 million urban adults report that they are running into debt. However, it is interesting to know that 8.5 million, shown by the middle bar, report that they make ends meet. Of the 10 million running into debt, that is the left bar, 44% falls in the low income group and 36% in the middle. Of those saving a lot, that is the furthest right bar on the chart, the high income group makes up 65% and the low income group a mere 9%. In the case of making ends meet, the shares of the three income groups are not so far apart. Low make up 33%, middle 29%, and high 38%. Whereas the percentages give us insight into what dominates, the absolute numbers hint at potential market sizes and characteristics. For me, it was insightful to be reminded that it is not only the high income group that makes ends meet and save. It is important to remind viewers that these figures reflect the number of adults and not the amounts that they save or win or own in debt. Low-income earners may report saving a lot, but the absolute amount could be small relative to high-income earners reporting the same. The second question we wish to report on in this video originates from the US. The question asks, if there was something expensive that you wanted to buy now, would you buy it on credit or not? Customary to consumer surveys, the wording is kept broad on purpose. It doesn't specify something specific, expensive, or the type of credit. For a low-income earner, something expensive may be a school uniform for the kids, or a small new appliance bought over the festive season. A high-income earner, in contrast, may have a bigger new appliance, furniture, or even a vehicle in mind. Turning to the type of credit, it is likely that the low-income earner includes in-store credit, whereas the high-income earner considers credit card debt and a bank loan. We speculate that respondents did not account for loans from family and friends or buying a house in the case of middle and high-income earners. However, we cannot be sure. Despite the broadness of the wording of the question and the heterogeneity of consumers in South Africa, the results were intuitively sensible. 17% indicated that they regard it as okay to buy something expensive on credit. In contrast, 33% reported that they never buy on credit. If we combine okay and neither pro nor against credit, then 45% favors credit. 55% oppose credit if we combine not okay and never. Like the first question, let's also analyze the results per income group. Considering the okay to buy on credit group, the shares of the three income groups are very close. 18% for low, 20% for middle, and 17% for high. However, we can consider the never buy on credit group. A big difference appears. Surprisingly to me, 42% of low-income earners strongly oppose credit compared to the 22% of the high-income earners. While 60% of low-income earners oppose credit, the high-income group is equally split between those opposing and favoring credit. I would have expected the opposite, but this may reflect my bias, thinking that it is the low-income earners that don't have the discipline to live within their means and cannot say no to easy credit. If we consider these results in terms of absolute numbers, then close to 10 million of the 29 million, that is one third of urban adults, prefer to never buy on credit. The second biggest group is those that are neither pro nor against credit. The remainder is almost equally split between those highly favorable and those highly reluctant to buy on credit. A final remark appropriate to make here is to remind viewers that these results reflect attitudes. These are not always consistent with actual behavior. A person that strongly opposes credit may face an emergency or a once-in-a-life too-good-to-be-true deal and be forced to take on credit. The BER's third consumer confidence question on the rating of the present time to buy durable goods provides insights into how willingness fluctuates over time and how a specific person's attitude towards credit could be inconsistent with the household's current financial situation. That is, the household is running into debt even though they strongly oppose credit buying. If we compare the results of the first and the second questions per income group, then we indeed notice such an inconsistency. The share of low-income earners falling into debt is far higher than those that favor credit. This means that many low-income earners are in debt not out of choice or preference. In contrast, the attitude towards credit and assessment of the financial situation of the household of high-income earners match closely. To conclude, a few final remarks. The classification of adults into three income groups explains to a large extent the different results. Relative to the middle and high income groups, the low income group includes the largest shares of the unemployed, government grant recipients, the young, that's people between 18 and 34 years, and informal dwellers. These characteristics mostly explain the precarious financial situation of most low-income earners and the conflict between this reality and their attitude or preference of credit buying. This was a trial. Despite our prior doubts, the questions delivered sensible results. As stated right at the start of this video, these results provide a useful snapshot of the current situation and attitudes. Depending on available financial and other resources, it would be valuable if the BER could repeat the study, because then we could also observe changes in the assessment and attitude towards credit buying. In the final instance, it is important to remind viewers that these results are based on interviews of randomly selected respondents within a semi-structured sample that was scaled to the urban adult population. Rural adults are not covered, and their situation and attitude may differ from those of the urban population. Furthermore, the study reflects the respondents' assessment. This would be close to reality, but the respondent selected may err because he or she isn't the main breadwinner or the one that controls the household finances. We hope that these results were insightful and of use to you. Please contact the BER if you have any questions or comments.